Welcome to the video. It's going to be a journal video. I haven't had one of those in a while, and some recent stuff has been happening in my life that I have to document. So that's what this video is going to be about. It's going to be documenting some of the changes in my life, and some of the choices I made, but more specifically about the food choices and everything what I'm eating recently. But then also it's going to be about an interesting story that happened at Walmart, that includes me. And I think it's one that I should record in the video journals for my future self. So I was like, why not do it? But I do want to first mention off when I'm making this video, it's Valentine's Day. So happy Valentine's Day for you guys. Me, I don't have a partner right now or anything like that. So for good or worse, I don't have to spend any money for a partner or anything like that. So it's good and bad, I don't have a partner to spend it with. But let's just jump straight into the video, okay? I'm in a good mood today. Which is, I do know if I didn't make this video now at like 5 o'clock, I wouldn't make the video. And so I wanted to make the video. So let's jump into it with the food choices. Well, recently I've been adding some stuff to my diet and everything. The major thing I realized is if I don't eat during my work break at Walmart, which is where I work, if you're new, welcome to the channel if you're new. But if I don't eat at if I don't eat during my break, I end up going to eat out. So I end up going to like I end up going to like Steak and Shake or like In and Out or something like that. I go to a fast food place. And I don't want to do that because it messes with my health. But I noticed that, um, and I work in the online shopping department at my store, and it's one of the busiest online shopping Walmarts in the area. So I think we're like number one. So like we're constantly moving and having to do stuff and everything. And so I burn a ton of calories. I end up walking like 20,000 steps per day. If you notice, I don't have my Fitbit on. That's another thing I got to talk about. But back to the video. But so I have to eat. And so I've decided to start packing a lunchbox. And I have this lunchbox that I never used, but I ended up doing it. So for about a week, I've been eating lunches out of my lunchbox instead of going to eat out. Because I know if I don't pack a lunchbox, then I'm going to eat out. Like I have to eat out. I get super hungry and my day is worse if I don't eat out or if I don't eat out of my lunchbox. So to instead of having to force myself to not eat out, I'd rather just pack a lunch. So let's talk about it. What do I pack for my lunch? Well, I got this applesauce from Walmart, the cinnamon, and I usually pack one of these as like a dessert. The problem is I was going through like all the ingredients on them, and there were like three or four different brands. Because my supermarket I work at is it's like the large scale Walmarts. It's not the small ones with just the groceries, and it's not even the bigger one. And it's a huge Walmart. Like it's a like super center Walmart. Okay. And there's like four different brands of like applesauce and everything. And I was trying to see like which one was healthier. And I was like looking at the brands. I ended up grabbing like three of these, but like they're all different brands. One's like applesauce cinnamon, one's regular applesauce, great value, and then another one is another brand. So I have to go through those, but I've been having one of these. And then I have like two peanut butter sandwiches with this pretty good bread I got, and the peanut butter that's really healthy. And then I've made these. This is another thing I've added to my diet, which are these blueberry muffins. And essentially you just add some oil, two eggs, and the mix. And it makes about six muffins for me, and the muffins are pretty big. I have them over there. I just have the box to showcase them. And I'd make them like 3 times a week. Okay, so because it makes like six, and I eat like two per day. I eat one for breakfast and then one in my lunchbox when I'm working. When I'm not working, I'll eat one in the morning, one at night. But I've made those, and that's basically my lunch is the muffin, applesauce, and like two sandwiches. I don't like to like bring stuff that I have to microwave. So if I brought like some tortillas and or whatever, all that, I have to microwave in some ground beef. And I make like tacos for my lunch. I don't like having to microwave this stuff, so I do like sandwiches, and the muffins pretty good. These muffins fill me up. It's not like the store-bought muffins that I eat and then 30 minutes later, I'm hungry again. No, these like fill me up, and the ingredients are really good. This was the best muffin mix I could find. Um, I don't like all the ingredients in this muffin mix, but I gotta work with what I gotta work, and I don't want to have to make muffins from scratch with the flour I have in there, and that'll take a couple hours, and they might not turn out well. So I just use this stuff, and it's pretty simple, and they make really good muffins. Maybe I might make a video on it and everything, making them. But I've gotten that. I've gotten these, so I've added that to my uh, arsenal for my diet because I've been trying to increase my diet so I'm not just eating like ground beef or I remember the time in like December when I was just eating lasagna like every day and that was like all I ate except for some eggs for breakfast, which was crazy for me and I ended up getting so tired of lasagna. But that's another story for you guys. But I ended up getting that. I also found out a yogurt that I actually like. Like I got this Greek Gods honey yogurt, which is amazing. The ingredients are pretty good. They add sugar and honey to make it sweeter because that's the thing with yogurt I've found out. I've tried a lot of different brands of yogurt. Is they're like kind of sour to me. I need it to be sweeter, and this one's probably the best. Now, of course, it has sugar with it, which isn't the best, but it uses brown cane sugar, and then it also uses honey. So, but I need to get something that has probiotics in it, and to help my gut. So that's what I've been using, and I really like this yogurt. I've tried a couple different. I've tried the Walmart brands, the other brands, and I can't stand them. So I got this one, and it's amazing. I like this yogurt. Thankfully, like I said, I work at a supermarket. I consider it like a supermarket, so they have like 20 brands of yogurt and it's for the other stuff too and everything. And so I like it. I like shopping there instead of shopping at like the local Walmart, because there's a Walmart that's like 3 or 4 minutes away from me. There's a Target, which is like basically my neighbor. Like I kid you not, the Target that I'm right next to me is my neighbor and everything. If you think about it, on the road I'm at, where my apartment, the Target's right next to us. So literally, it's like a minute drive. But that Target barely has anything, and so I don't like going there. So I go to the supermarket. After work, I grab all the stuff I need, so I don't have to drive there on my day off because it's about 20-30 minute drive depending on how much traffic. Like in the morning, really early morning, it's only like 25 minutes, 20 minutes, but like after work, whenever I'm out from work, it's about 30 to 40 minutes just because of traffic. And that's if there's no congestion or a traffic accident or anything. So I like to shop after work. And so that's a new thing. I've had this yogurt for like a couple days, but I love it. And it's good for me with the probiotics. Like I said, the sugar, I guess that's what makes it sweet with the honey. But I gotta do it. So I've also gotten a different type of milk because they got like 15 brands of milk at my Walmart. But I got this uh, grass-fed whole milk. I don't really care about the grass-fed thing. It is A2 milk. What does that mean? This is something I recently discovered for you guys. Cows originally, like way back in history, produced milk out of with an A2 protein. However, today most cows make uh, A1, or they make both A1 and A2, and it's like a mixture of A1 and A2. But apparently A2 is better for humans, or at least it helps. It's a lot better in terms of being able to digest it. So like if you struggle with drinking milk because you're lactose intolerant, A2 might be more tolerable to you. That's what the like science stuff says and everything. And some people swear by it, some people don't. So I'm trying that out. Different. It's still milk, but it's a different protein. But for breakfast in the morning, I've been making some eggs on the days off, and then I don't have to cook them in the morning or anything. I just throw them in the microwave, and then I just put some bacon in my air fryer, and then I got these uh, pretty good bagels. I have all my food stuff over there on the rest of my desk, which is huge. I love this huge desk. I got these Dave's. Uh, Dave's Killer Bread bagels, which are pretty good. They taste better than the normal bagels, and also the ingredients are better. They're not the best, like I said, bread-based stuff. Any like thing like pasta or bread that you don't make yourself, the ingredients aren't the best. Usually, you can find some stuff, and that leads me to my next thing. Uh, is these tortillas that I got at the Walmart. These were in the fridge section by all like the cheese and bacon and all that type of stuff. But they're tortillas, and you got to keep them in the fridge because they're pure. Let me see. Yeah, they're pure like wheat flour. I don't like that they use canola oil in it because that's seed oils, so inflammation based. But it's the best tortillas I've found that aren't with like 20 different ingredients. So these are the best ones. Now you got to keep them in the fridge because otherwise they'll rot, they'll get bad because they don't have any preservatives in them. So that's if you go on the regular tortillas that you have. I think I have some regular tortillas in the cabinet that I haven't used in a while. The problem with them preservatives so they don't go bad. It's the same thing with your normal American butter bread and all that type of stuff. They have to add preservatives, otherwise the bread would go bad. Like if you had normal bread, if you bake normal bread, after 3 days it's hard as a brick. Okay. But I've gotten these. The only thing is you got to use them within like 7 days of opening the bag, and it's like what is it? It's 18 of them, so I got to use them a lot. Um, but I've been using like some salsa with them that I really like. It's in my fridge. I forgot to bring it out. But I got some salsa, but like I said, these tortillas are pretty good. But I got to eat a lot of them. Now you can, but apparently you got to cook them first. So you got to put them on the grill for like, or I use my stovetop, but for like 30 seconds each side. If you eat them raw, they're not going to taste good. So you can't microwave these. What you got to do is you got to cook them on the stovetop first. Then you can put them in your fridge and then microwave them. So what I might do is I might just basically cook them all and then put them in a bag and then in my fridge and then use them. I don't know. We'll have to see, but I got to use a lot of them. I've eaten like 4 or 5 of them because I tried them out yesterday after work. They were amazing. I love these tortillas. But thankfully, like I said, I work at a super center, so it's not like I got to find one. I can just after work go there. Now, when me making all those muffins, they call for like 1/3 a cup of oil every time. But I gotta get some more 100% Spanish extra virgin olive oil. I got this from Target, so I might have to get another brand at Walmart where I work. I forgot to get some, so I can't make any more muffins today because I'm almost out. I got like 2 muffins left, and tomorrow I'll use them. So I'll have to get some, or I'll eat them tomorrow. So tomorrow after work, I'll just grab a quick bottle of one of these or another brand, but something that's in glass and that's dark glass, so it doesn't oxidize. I know if it's in glass and it's dark glass, I know they care about oxidization, which I stumbled that word. But basically, it means it doesn't oxidize. But then also, it's in glass, so I know they care more about the product compared to plastic bottles, and I know the plastics seep into the oil. So I got to get one of these, and I got to make muffins tomorrow because tomorrow I'll be gone out of all. I have one. I think I have like one left of these, so I also got to get some more of these. It doesn't cost a lot, but those are like the major food choices. Like I'm happy I found some yogurt that I got and everything. The problem with this is I got to clean out the baking sheet that I got for the muffin sheet I got or whatever that cooks. You pour the muffin mix in and it cooks muffins. The problem is I forgot to spray it on the second time I made these. The ones I'm eating right now, I forgot to spray them with oil with the canola, avocado oil I have, the avocado spray oil. That's 100% olive oil, but I forgot to spray it. So when they came up, I had to take like a knife and like cut around it and pull it up, which was a problem. I didn't realize that till after because the first time I made it, I followed the instructions on spraying them with oil. And then this time I forgot, and so I had to do that and everything. Um, but that's like the major food stuff. So I'm still trying to add stuff to my diet. Like, I'm adding like salsa and everything. to my tacos and everything instead of using honey mustard sauce, which is okay, but I love that. I love the salsa that I add to the tacos that I make. Because I can make like 4 or 5 tacos after work in like 5 minutes, and I'll be like not hungry for the rest of the day. And I won't wake up super hungry when I wake up the next morning. So, but I do that too. I've gotten this ice cream too that's very good for you. It has like only 5 ingredients. I should have brought that out too, but then it'd be melting. So we'll see. But that's basically all the food stuff that's been happening that I've changed. Like I've added bagels in the morning as like a carb source because I've been eating a ton of protein for my morning breakfast. So I had to add some carbs. So I've added the bagels and I've added the muffins. Same thing with my lunch and everything. But that's pretty much everything food wise. So it's only been 15 minutes. We'll jump into the second part of this video that you guys have been waiting for. An interesting story. So let me give you some backstory. Okay, let me give you some backstory. So if you're new to this channel and maybe you watched this part of the end of the video, I work at a Walmart that I recently got hired at. At least I've only been working for like 4 months, and I'm in the uh, online shopping department. People call it different things, or online associate. That's what my term. That's what my like job title is, or something like that. But essentially, I'm the person who like loads up your car with groceries. If you ever ordered online at a Walmart, and you park somewhere, and someone comes out with these blue totes on a like cart that rolls or whatever, and then they load up your groceries. That's what I do. Or I've been a picker one time. I think it's been yeah, pretty much one time where I picked groceries from the aisles in the huge carts with like the 8 blue totes that people put the groceries in. I've been that, but I don't really do that. I'm just too slow for it. And they have a ton of pickers, so they don't put me there. But I'm pretty much all the time in the back. So I'm in the back where I'm prepping people's orders, or more recently, since Ramon got fired, I've been the dispenser guy who like dispenses your groceries. So I'm the person who puts the groceries in the car. And the dispenser at our store, because we're super busy, we have a person who is a dispenser who only does that, who stands outside by our dispensing area where people come to pick up their groceries. And we're the ones who load up the groceries into the car. Now, other stores do it differently, where you have everyone inside prepping these orders, and then when you're done prepping the order, you're the one who puts the groceries in the car. So it depends on the store, but we're really big on online shopping, so we have to have someone out there to dispense. And now, if it gets too busy, like if there are 20 cars in the dispensing area, because we have our own dispensing area where you don't even like park, you just pull up, and it's not in the parking lot or whatever. And and it has like a huge overhang for rain and everything. But back to the story, if I get overloaded because there's 20 cars and there's like 3 orders on the sidewalk, which leads to the door, that's where people leave the totes full of groceries for me to dispense. But if I'm super busy, then they have one of the prepping people come out and dispense the orders. But the prepping person gets all the orders ready and brings it outside and leaves it on the sidewalk for me to dispense. Or they end up helping me if I'm too busy. Now, I was dispensing on this one day where this interesting story happened. So, a lady pulls up, okay, and she is a delivery driver. So I don't just upload, or I don't just dispatch groceries for regular people. I also do it for delivery drivers. And what happens with delivery drivers is they pull in, and you can have 3 orders max per car, or you can have 2 or 1. If it's like a TV where someone orders a TV and they want to get delivered, then usually it's just that. And usually it's someone with a van. I think they get paid more. But then other times it's like I might have 3 grocery orders per car, or 2 groceries per order per car. And with that, you have to separate the grocery orders. So at least this is at our Walmart. This is policy how it works. So like if you're a triple batch, as we call it, we have to put 1 order in the trunk, 1 order in the back seat, 1 order in the front seat to separate them. Okay. And we give them stickers for each order, or we put them on the bags. More specifically, put it on the bags, and then they have to scan the stickers per order with their phone. That's how it works. Okay. So this lady comes out, and I'm assuming she was doing it for a friend or husband or whatever. And I bring out this double batch for her. She doesn't even park in the right place. She doesn't park in our overpass that has space. She parks all the way in our overflow parking lot, which is connected to the overall parking lot on the side of the Walmart. And so I go over and I was just like, I almost was like, can you move over to the other place over to the overpass, which is right by bring out this tote or this cart with your groceries all the way out here. But I didn't. Some will say that at our store, especially if they're delivery drivers, because our store gives us like more. Our store managers will back us against these delivery drivers because what you got to realize is these delivery drivers will walk all over you and not follow the rules or the policies that we have to follow. So, for example, the delivery driver has loading up their grocery. And even in normal people coming in to pick up their groceries, we're supposed to dispense it and we can get in trouble if it's not. So you have to tell them to get back into their car if they're a delivery driver, especially. And sometimes they will ignore you or wander around the overpass area, something like that. So you're the one in control and you have to enforce these policies at our store. At least that's my store. Other stores might be different. This might be overall Walmart's policy, but at least our store, that's how it goes. And so she is standing by, and I have to tell her to get back in her car and everything. Well, first thing is I pull up that order. And if you don't know, for delivery drivers, you have to get a 4-digit code that they get whenever they sign in through the app that they're here. And we have to enter that to make sure this is the right person who, not we're not giving it to a random person. We're not giving them another delivery batch, whatever it is. So I get the 4-digit code or whatever, and I'm like, okay, it's a double batch, it's two different orders, okay? And she was like, oh, whatever. Like, I didn't know it was two orders or whatever. That was a red flag, number one. She has on the app, when she picks it up, she sees it. That's why I think she was doing it for a friend or whatever, because she does something later on. Okay, well, she parks into the parking lot dispensing area. That's our overflow. The problem is she backs up the other way. She doesn't park normally. She backs up the other way with her trunk facing the sign because there's a sign that sits right there that says like over, or it doesn't say overflow. It just says online pickup. The problem is her trunk is facing that way, so you can't lift the trunk without hitting the sign. And so I'm like a double batch, and so I have to tell her like one's going to be in the back seat, one's going to be in the front seat. Okay, guess what? She did not like that, and I was like, I got to do it, or otherwise I got to cancel one of your orders. And she starts arguing with me, and of course, as always happens, some dispensers would just, at my store at least, will just cancel her order. And because it's like we have so many orders half the time that like I don't have time to be arguing with you when there are five other orders or whatever who need to go out, right? So I was telling this lady, like, look, I'm just a dispenser. I got to follow the policy rules. Like, this is my job. I have to do it or otherwise I can get in trouble. And I was like, we have to, like, and I was telling her, like, other dispensers would just cancel all your orders. And, ooh, she was not happy with that. She was like, she was like, whose policies or whatever? And I was like, Walmart, like that's our store policy. And she's like, you don't have to follow them or whatever. And I was like, yes, I do. Like they're watching us. And she's like, oh, where are the cameras or whatever? And I point to the wall that's against the Walmart where they have cameras that watch over us. And I was like, and what she didn't realize is someone got fired a couple weeks ago for I won't say what actions, but they've been watching the cameras because of it. And so I was like, there are cameras right there. Her response was like funny. She's like, "Ooh, you're special," like whatever and something. And I was like, "No, I'm just like a normal employee. They watch like everyone. We have like a massive security team goes around the store. We have this security team that drives through the Walmart stores with like special sign or not stores, but through the parking lot that has like special signs and everything." Because we're such a big store and stealing is a problem with us. But she was like, "Oh, you think you're so special or whatever?" And I was like, "No, no." And then I was like, I'm just like a normal employee. But she was arguing with me while I was loading it. And of course, I had already like sent the orders through the app, so it was already dispensed. So I didn't want to have to like take all the groceries back, then call my manager and be like, "Hey, I dispensed these orders, but she was arguing with me and I couldn't already cancel them." And I almost was because I could have done that. Because what is you can cancel the orders, but it's after. I don't think this is a Walmart series, but it's before you like load it up. So we have to hit like, okay, we loaded it up. We put this order in the back seat, this order in the trunk, this order in the front seat. If it's double backs, we have to do the same thing, and then we hit load the car or whatever, and then that goes to the system. So, but and then we can't mess with the order ever again, or we got to get a manager or something like that. So I was like, but I was telling this lady while I was like putting her groceries in, I was like, other dispensers would be like, I'm just going to cancel it all and just take back all the orders and would have just left or something like that. And she thought I was like threatening her or something. So she ends up calling her friend, who I guess is the actual delivery driver. And she was just covering for him or whatever. And she's like, "Yeah, yeah, did you have to do this at this store or whatever?" And he was like, "No, no, no." And I was like, "But it's the real." And she was like, "I was here yesterday." And I was like, "I wasn't here yesterday." But I was like, no one, our policy is that no one would do that. Like they specifically, I know all the rest of the dispensers, like they wouldn't do that. And some of them would have just already, for arguing with me, would have just canceled your whole order. But she was like arguing with me. And then finally, I got her groceries loaded while she's like arguing with me. And then she was rushing me at the same time. Like she's like, "Come on, hurry up, hurry up." And then as I leave, I'm like, "Okay, that's everything. You're like good to go or whatever." And I had given her like a warning, like the other dispensers would not have tolerated this or whatever. Or some of them would have just, mm-mm. But like I said, I was like, you can get banned from this store. Like if we tell our managers, they'll look up if we have some stickers left over from loading up your groceries, loading up the deliveries, we can give them to the manager and they'll look up and then ban you. And I was like, we can do that. And I wasn't like threatening her. It was just like Walmart policy. Like we just have to follow it and you're going to argue with us. We can do that. And like, especially, and this is what I mean, she then threatens me and she's like, you're lucky I didn't have my PD. Or she's like, you shouldn't threaten people. Like you shouldn't be threatening people. I don't need this money or anything. And then this was a shocker. She's like, the whole time I was like putting groceries in her car, she's like, don't mess with me. I'm a PD. I have my PD badge. I can take this up. Like, if I pulled out this badge, I can write you up or anything. And the whole time I was thinking like, what is PD? Like I was so confused. Like PD, like what does that mean? And then I figured out later on, but I was just like, this lady's like crazy. Like, who is threatening me over like load? I didn't load their groceries up because they weren't in the right. They're not following the policy at our store. But she was like, you shouldn't threaten them or whatever. And I was like, no, 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 I'm not threatening you. That's just our policy and everything. Like, you don't have to follow it. It's not like I'm threatening to marry you or whatever. And she's like, I can write you up or whatever. You think you can get my money away? And she's like, I have a PD and I have my PD badge. You're lucky I'm not on the clock or something like that. And then I realized later on, I was just ignoring this lady. This lady's crazy. Later on, I realized. Oh, that means like after I had finished loading and she left the parking lot. PD is police department. And I was like, so this lady is apparently like a police officer. Like I kid you not. She was gonna threaten to arrest me, like because I was threatening her because I wasn't like loading up her groceries right, like or I wasn't gonna load her groceries up, and I was threatening her because that's how she makes money. But I was like, but then I realized later on, I was like, well, which police officer on their off time, days off, have the energy to go deliver groceries for people? I mean, they make enough money and everything, but like I said, it was like a crazy story. But I was like, yeah, my managers were like, oh, did you like have the stickers or whatever? And I was like, oh, I forgot or whatever. And she was like, well, next time if you see that lady again, like let us know and then we'll ban her from the store. Because that's the thing is with these delivery drivers, they do have their problems. Like, and the thing is with a lot of them, at least at our store, and I have nothing against this, but a lot of them don't speak English. Or the max they can speak is to give us the 4-digit code. Or what usually they'll do is they'll show us their phone with the 4-digit code on the app that they have for delivery drivers, or it's the Walmart app that is changes for the delivery drivers. I don't know everything about that, but they don't speak English. A lot of them speak Spanish, and so it's hard to communicate with them. Usually, I have to use like hand signs because some of them will like get out of their car and wander around, and I have to be like point at their car like you got to get in or whatever. And usually they follow along, but then sometimes you have to threaten them, with I got to cancel your orders or something. That's when they start to follow the rules. Because if you don't, they'll just keep doing it. So then you got to threaten them like, hey, if you guys don't follow the policy, we are going to have to cancel your order for someone else to pick up the order. Like there was one time where, for example, I'm going to give you some stories. There was one time. Actually, this has happened multiple times, but this specific person, I remember it. They had someone in the front seat. And the thing is if they're a triple batch, and this is delivery, most delivery drivers pick up triple batches because it pays the most because I think they're paid by delivery or whatever. So that pays the most because they use up the most amount of space in their parking lot or in their car. So they get the triple batch, and I see there's someone in the front seat. I tell them, hey, your friend has to be, I don't say it's like their husband or what, I don't know what it is. It could be your brother or something. I've seen all different times. I gotta be like, hey, he has to get in the second seat, or in the back seat, so I can put a grocery up in the front seat. And oh no, they don't like that. Like, and I don't get it because I'm like, you gotta be in the back seat. Like, what's the problem with sitting in the back seat while your friend drives the groceries? And so I've gotten arguments. Some people tried to fight me over it. Like, I kid you not, like they will argue with you over it. And then eventually sometimes I'll be like, I'm just canceling one of your orders. I know some delivery drivers who will, or some dispensers who come up to your car and you have someone in the front seat. They don't even say a word. They just cancel one of your orders, put the load the groceries, and when you complain or you're like, where's the other grocery or whatever, then they're gonna be like, you have someone in the front seat. I'm pretty nice about that because I'll just tell them like you gotta be in the back seat. But sometimes they don't want to do that. And sometimes they're fine with canceling the order, and then other times they won't. And then, like, I've had some people who have been like, okay, it's fine, you can cancel on the order. Now, there was this one lady who always had a friend up front. I'm assuming it's a friend. And she would always get triple batches at her store. And for like a week, she did this, and she was new. And every time we'd have to tell her, hey, we got to cancel one of your orders, okay, because you have someone in the front for you. And she'd be okay with it. Then the next, couple hours later or an hour later, she'd come back and she'd get another triple batch, and we have to come out there. And then we have to cancel one of the orders, prep it all over again, dispense it all over again. We got to take that one order off and then bring that one inside, restage it, and then hope someone picks it up and picks that one batch up. See, that's the problem. So eventually, she realized that she stopped bringing her friend, or she just stopped coming. Sometimes it's either one. Actually, I think what she did is she started getting double batches, so she'd only get two orders for her car instead of three, and just have her friend in the front seat. Okay, but I've had other things too where I've said, okay, you need to get in the back seat with their friend or whatever. That person gets in the back seat. Once I load up the person in the front seat, I don't know why my camera just changed, what they're like orange or whatever. That's crazy. It might be the light. But I put out essentially what happened is once I was done loading up their order, one of the orders in the front seat, they got out of the car to their back seat, sat in it, moved all the groceries, sat back in the front seat while I was still loading up stuff. I mean, when you have to like respect your bound, like you have to defend your boundaries because if you don't, some of these delivery drivers will walk all over you. Now, some of the delivery drivers are really nice. Like some of them are like, "Good morning, friend." Like that's one guy. See, now another guy will like give us the code. Most of the like people who don't speak English, they'll give me the code and they'll just send in the card till you're done, and then I'll be like, "Oh, you're done," and they'll get out the scan the bags with the stickers on it because they got to scan for each order one of the stickers that comes with the order if it's a delivery driver order, and then that's it. And then I don't have any problems with it. That's majority of the delivery drivers, especially in the morning because you got to know yourself when you have to wake up at 7 a.m. That's when our deliveries start and pick up groceries and do that for like a couple hours because that's usually what they do is they do it from like 7 to 11 or something like that, and then they go off and do other stuff. Now, and also you got to realize is this with the delivery drivers, they get a policy on a form that tells them everything they can and can't do and like what they're supposed to do and everything. Okay. But like I said, every store does it differently. Our store, it kind of messes stuff up and everything. But like you got to follow the rules. And essentially, if you're a dispenser, the area that all the online shopping is, people come in to pick up your order. That's your area. Okay, you're in charge of that, and so you gotta set boundaries and you gotta follow them and everything, and you gotta enforce the rules sometimes. Let me get some water. But it is what it is. So, but that's just like some normal stories. Like I said, some people have tried to fight me. Like, I kid you not. Like, you have to like set up your boundaries. Like I said, I got threatened by a police department officer. I don't know if she just worked at the police department or she was a police. Because who says that? Who says I'm a PD or whatever? Instead, I have a PD badge or whatever. Instead of saying I'm a police officer, or I'm an officer, I can arrest you. The thing is I would have been like, okay, let me go get the police officer who sits down in our parking lot because we usually have either a police officer or a fire department, car or whatever, the big one and everything that puts out fires that is parked right by our entrance. Okay. Either that or we have a police car with like a couple officers or one officer. So, and we also have the Boston Security Company, I guess that's what they're called, who drive around the store, who have on, who are also inside, like watching the entrances and exits and all that type of stuff. Like we have all that, like full on security. So like I said, so I was like, I was gonna be like, I should have been like, I can go get that police officer, the Charlotte police officer. He's sitting in his car right there, and he's like a minute walk because literally I could walk straight to there because the um, stopping is like right next to the side in the front side of the building, and then police officer sits right by the entrance that's close to us. So it would literally be like 30 seconds of me walking and me knocking on the police officer's door. Like I could do that. And we also have it's not just him. There's the police officer who sits right there by the door. We also have police officers who like sit in their cars in the parking lot. Okay, because I'll see multiple cars just sitting in the parking lot with someone in them. So it's not just like the one by the door; it's also there. Plus, like I said, you got the Bosnian security company with like the black shirts on or black vests who drive around with that on their side of their car and everything. So security is really tight at our store. Um, and that's a funny story too. Apparently, someone broke into the jewelry department. Um, jewelry department broke in, stole some jewelry, ran out in flip tops, got on a scooter, and tried to escape the police on a scooter. I kid you not. He eventually got caught. Of course, they caught him, but the department was talking about that. That's the like gossip that just happened at our store. Someone broke into some of the jewelry stands, stole a ton of jewelry, ran out, got on a scooter and tried to scoot away, and then they got pulled. They got caught by the police who were in cars, actual cars. But yeah, but like I said, you have to depend. You have to defend your rights as a dispenser, I would say. But like, I'm one of the nicer dispensers. I'd also say that comes with. I don't know why my camera keeps fluctuating the lighting and everything. But I would say that comes with being a as a like dispenser and everything, because some dispensers will like just flat out cancel your order if you start arguing. Like they don't even like try to argue it; they'll just cancel your order. Like, and like I try to be nicer, but that's probably because most of the delivery people in the morning, delivery takers, are very nice, or they just don't say a word because they only speak in Spanish. Because I know once I start dispensing at like 3 before I leave at like 3:30, majority of the like delivery guys, girls or guys, there aren't a lot of girls who do or women who do the dispense or do the delivery stuff. It's mainly guys or men, whatever. But usually later on we have a lot more English speaking delivery takers. Now sometimes we get new guys who show up and pick up orders and everything, but majority of the delivery people in the morning speak Spanish only. Like one guy, Rubus or whatever, who has like these different boxes that you put groceries in. I always remember him because of that. He has like this green car. I like dispensing for him the most because he's pretty easy. He never gives me any attitude or anything, but also he speaks English like way more. Like he actually speaks English fluently. He's not speaking just Spanish, which is a good thing because if like there's a return. Some of the like if it's a delivery driver and they need a code to get into the apartment or not get into the apartment but get into like the apartment building to bring your groceries to the door of your apartment, they got to get a code. Or like if it's a gated community, they have to get a code, or you got to be outside and wait for someone to pick up your groceries. Or maybe if they're getting alcohol, because you can pick up alcohol from delivery and everything, they might need to see an ID. They have to see an ID actually, because they can get in a lot of trouble for that. And then if you don't have your ID, then they can't give you the alcohol. And so they'll bring it back as a return. They can put it in as a return or whatever, and we bring it back. Well, we have to find out a reason. Like, was this person there, to pick up their items? Because sometimes you have to be there to pick up your items. Did they not have an ID or whatever? And the problem with that is they don't speak English. I have to pull up like Google Translate. Or if they're really smart, some of the smarter ones already have it up on their phone, and then they speak to it, and then it says what it is. Or I'll have to be like, hey, or whatever, and I'll be like, I need a reason for the return. Like, do we need to call that person, or are they going to convert it to pickup or something like that? And they'll look at me all confused, and then I got to pull up Google Translate and hit a thing, and and then they got to speak to it, or they got to type in to it on my phone or their phone, whatever it is. So, but like I said, some of the smarter ones already, or if they've been doing it for longer, then they'll be like, okay, here it is. Like they'll be like they'll already have Google Translate on their phone. So, but that's just a normal thing and everything. But like I said, you have to have your own boundaries. Otherwise, the delivery drivers will walk all over you. I've had one guy who walked out of his car. I pointed back to his car and I was like, "You got to get back in your car while you're loading it up." He was like, "No, no, no," and I had to keep doing it. Finally, he gets back in the car. I start loading up his groceries again, finishing or whatever. He then gets back out of his car, gets back in his car, gets out. It was like a whole mess. Like so, like I said, you gotta. But majority of the time, you don't have any problems. Like I'm gonna be honest with you. Like majority of the time, you don't have any problems. But you sometimes do. Maybe I might have to deal with a delivery driver who's doing something wrong or whatever, maybe once a month, or not even a month. No, probably like once every 2 weeks. Also, once they start picking up groceries at your store enough times, they'll start to understand the rules because like no one wants to have to argue with you or whatever. Most of the time they're compliant because and they know the rules because they've been there like for a month or two and they've picked up thousands of different orders, and then you don't have a problem. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. It's already been 42 minutes. Um, what else do I want to talk about? I could talk about the situation on BookTube where this famous booktuber person who like does reviews for books, Robert, I forgot what his last name was. I think it was Robert something. He got in trouble with a scandal. I don't know if I should do that. Maybe I should make another. He fell too. He had a scandal dealing with a woman too, and essaying her and everything. And so that's a huge scandal right now. I've seen on YouTube, but I don't want to do that. I could talk about how the American taxpayers have been scammed out of their money because Doge, run by Elon Musk, has discovered a ton of money going missing, which we already knew. Like we already knew that and everything. How millions of dollars been funding stupid stuff, and all the inefficiency in the government, which isn't a surprise. But I mean, some people are like shocked by this. But I mean, I was like, no, it's no doubt. Like, I mean, he's bringing it to the surface, but I didn't doubt it and everything. But maybe I'll make another video on that. What do you guys think? I guess that's my take. I gotta start putting all this stuff out because it's cold stuff and I can't leave it out too much. But that's it for the video, you guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys, I don't know, whenever. I just have the motivation to make this video. But that's one for the video journal. I've changed up my food somewhat, and I've also uh, dealt with some interesting delivery people and everything. Regular customers are really nice. I don't really have any problems with normal customers. Uh, sometimes sometimes they bring a dog and everything and they have to like control their dog, but like I'm not afraid of dogs, so it's just not a problem with me. I know if someone who was afraid of dogs, that would be a problem. Me, I'm okay with dogs, but I don't think there are any other problems. I've never had a grocery pickup guy. I've had problems with them because like some pickup people want to like help you load up their groceries, and you have to be like, no, 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 like this is my job, or you have to do it like unoffensively. Sometimes they'll be like, oh, it's cold out or whatever. You can be back in your car, and then if they really fight you on it, you have to be like, it's my job. Like I could get in trouble if you're helping me load up the groceries or whatever. You know. Um, I've had trouble with like ID stuff too. Not too much where like some people would be like, I'd be like when I'm delivering, I'm loading up their alcohol because some people get alcohol through the pickup, whatever. I have to be like, I got to get an ID. And the thing with us is, at least at our store, I'm pretty sure it's one of the policy is any age restricted item, you got to get an ID. Like even if she looks or he looks 100 years old, you got to get an ID. That happens with me. So like there was one time an old lady, she's like, "Oh, look, the white hair doesn't help or whatever." And she was like 70. And I was like, "No, no, no, I gotta get an ID, otherwise I can get in trouble." But like those are the only things with like pickup drivers. If it's delivering with alcohol, I don't have to say anything there. The delivery driver is the one who has to get the car. But with pickup with alcohol, or if it's medicine, I've seen medicine, or like there was one time where it was like spray air, where you use condensed air or whatever. And so the guy was like, oh, "What do you think we're gonna like snort air up or whatever, like condensed air up our nostrils?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't know why." Or like pain, I think also is age restricted, but like we have to get an ID, and I don't really have problems with that. Some customers are like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, I've never had to take back the alcohol." Because if they don't give you an ID, you have to cancel the alcohol in their order, because we can cancel any items on the order. So if ever you were like, I don't want this on my order or whatever, we can always cancel it. Same thing with like subs. If you ever get a substitution, that always warns us specifically if you haven't approved it. So usually you should get like an app notification like these are your subs, and then you can approve it on the app before you come. But if you didn't see that or it didn't send or whatever, we have to tell you what the subs are before and say, do you want to agree? Do you agree with the subs, or do you want us to cancel the subs? And then we'll just take them out of your order, and then we won't load those groceries up to your car. And we just return it to the return tote inside, where at the end of the day, I've never had to do this, but at the end of the day, people go around and return those items that are in the return tote to the aisles, wherever they're at. But like that's the only like problems I have with pickup is when they want to help us and everything, and then you got to be like, no, 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 like it's our job, we'll get in trouble, and then they won't, or they'll try to tip you, and then you have to be like, I can't tip, I can't take tips, or especially if like they'll try to keep handing it to you, like, no, no, you're gonna take the tip. I've had problems with that, especially with like the older people where they're like, here, take the tip. I don't care if you'll get in trouble, take it, and then you have to be like, no, 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 and then you have to like step back and everything, and they won't stop you. That has had a problem, but like not a lot. But usually they back off when you're like, I could get fired from it, because they do watch the cameras. Like that's the reason the cameras are there. And I don't think it's worth a tip of $5 to lose my job, and then have a reputation of like when my next employer calls my previous employer and they're like, well, what happened with him? I heard he got fired, or did he get fired or whatever? And then they're like, yeah, he was taking tips or whatever, and that's against their policy. You know what it is. So, but I think that's it for the video. Thanks for watching. I gotta put this stuff up. I don't want it to melt. I'll see you guys whenever. Thanks for watching, you guys. I know the camera messed up a little bit earlier in the video, but we'll see. I just want to upload the video, even with all the flaws in it, problems with it. I'll just upload the video because I haven't uploaded in a while. I know I have like 80 subscribers, which is amazing. But I'll see you guys whenever. I hope you guys have an awesome month, week, whatever future. I hope you guys had a good Valentine's. I didn't really do much and everything. Like I said, I didn't have a partner or anything for gifts. I didn't get gifts. But what about you guys? I didn't have to spend money on gifts or anything, so that's good. But what about you guys? But yeah, I gotta go. That's it for the video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.